Hey everybody, Jimmy with the Triple C Collective, and today I've got my buddy. Say hi.
Hi.
It is AJ Omi, and
Hi, everybody.
he is back, and we are ready to talk about Goonies, and I'm so excited for this.
Oh, just
Goonies, I've got it right
absolute
there,
80s adrenaline. Just one of the
right?
best.
So we've talked about this before in Speak No Evil, but before we dive into it, I've got to ask, when does Goonies really come into your life for you?
Probably when I was like fifth grade, sixth grade, I think around the age when you're like all adventurous and in your backyard doing stuff. Maybe even earlier than that, probably like third grade. Yeah, I remember we had it on VHS, and then I remember seeing it on TV quite a few times. It was one of the movies that was continuously on a loop in my household, in some format or another.
Yeah.
How about you?
For me, I just feel like there's certain movies that I just feel like have always just like been there my entire life.
Yeah,
Like I don't remember like when I may have first like watched them, like Goonies. Definitely don't remember when I first like watched it, but like Goonies Never Say Die and stuff. Like,
yeah,
like I feel that like I was just kind of born, started hanging out with friends, and then like that shit was just a part of our lexicon, like it was
yeah,
just there. And it
yeah.
whether it was from like other people having older siblings who saw Goonies or whatever, or us discovering it at like video stores ourselves, back in the like heyday of doing all of that. And so like yeah, I just have always felt that the Goonies have always been here and been around, and I don't know if it's like the Spielberg about it as well, just because like
Yeah.
Spielberg has literally like directed all of our
My whole
childhoods,
childhood.
right? From like literally, I mean, he didn't direct this. He wrote the screenplay and
He
stuff, and
guided it
like
in a way. He guided it into Columbus's hands.
well, there's also that, and Dick Donner even on the commentary track talks about
Hmm.
how like Steven Spielberg did end up directing like a scene or two because he was always on set, and like if
Yeah.
Spielberg is like, "Hey, can I get behind the camera and direct this?" I don't think you're going to say no. Because to be fair, the only reason any of you are there is because of him. So like,
Can you imagine having Spielberg on set and just like having him work at like the crafts table? It's like everything but directing. It would just
right?
feel off.
Like it's like, is this
He
the
needs a day or
Twilight
two in the
Zone?
chair.
um but one of the things that we did talk about before in Speak No Evil is there was a scene that scared you. And
Oh yeah.
let, let let's open up the pod there and then we'll dive into the movie because this is a deleted scene. This is a movie that
Correct.
is not in the movie proper, but Data
Correct.
comments on
There
the
is
events of it at the end at the beachfront.
Yes, there are
Um
skeletons there are remnants of the scene, but the scene itself no longer exists in the now edited release or any other release beyond the theatrical version.
yeah.
So this scene takes place towards the end, like when they're all in the water. They've seen the pirate ship. I believe it's after they've all walked the plank, and they're kind of sectioned off into their groups. Like Brand is making out with Andy. Steph and Mouth kind of go off on their own. Or no, it was Steph and Data. They go kind of get off track on their own, and then kind of out of nowhere, you see this thing brush up against Steph's leg, and then leg, assuming who she's with, like, oh, what are you doing? Like, stop touching me. I believe it was Mouth. It was
It
Mouth
is
who she was
it's
yelling at.
Mouth,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Data comes in later when it and kind of saves the day in like a weird heroic sense, but yeah. So Steph thinks like, oh, it's Mouth just messing with her, like brushing by her leg to freak her out. So she's messing with him back, saying like, stop messing with me. That's you. I know it's you. And then out of the depths pops the half animatronic, half I don't know how much it's computer generation they had back then, but it was kind of a hodgepodge of animation.
Yeah.
And it was this gigantic squid slash octopus that emerges from the water. He does his like little dance shuffle. There's this kind of chaotic music that's playing. Data ends up saving the day by putting a stereo or like a boombox in the octopus's mouth. And that forces the octopus to like exit the scene and like this dramatic like arms waving above the water, like backing out of the scene. It's like a pure acid trip, and part of me is like, I get why. I can't understand why maybe they didn't want this in the movie. But at the same time, it's such an iconic scene. Like if they had left that in, can you imagine the discussion that would be surrounding it, like in
Oh,
today's age as opposed to like back then when it was released? Like
r-
it's so ridiculous.
it is outrageous. And that scene is like now it's really funny like in our late 30s watching it and being like like it's just like so silly and rambunctious. But
Yeah.
I love that like you saw that scene on the VHS or whatever, like after like the credits, saw that scene and you're like, oh my God, nah, I don't want any part
Oh, it
of
was
this.
terrifying. I mean, as an adult watching it today, I'm like, how could I ever be fearful of this scene? It's so ridiculous. But like back in the day, something about sea creatures always scared me. You know, I have a big fear of like the open water and like not being able to see anything below me. So anything aquatic, like large whales or octopus or squid or animatronic or not, like back in the day, that used to be like my absolute terror. So I can see how it was scary back then, but like watching it today, it's almost like it reminded me very much of like you know how on Saturday Night Live like in between the skits they would have a commercial
Yeah,
skit that was like an ad for something like mom jeans or something. And it kind of takes you out of this like the whole Saturday Night Live skit aspect of the show for a second and but gives you humor in like another avenue. Like that's what I feel like this scene does for the movie. It like takes you out for a second where you're kind of like, what the fuck? But then it brings you right back in when they're like, oh, it's gone now.
right.
But it's pure. It's just so ridiculous. Like there's no other way to explain it other than whoever wrote this must have had like a good dose of drugs.
Right. And then I mean this movie top to bottom like it really is just a banger. And it starts
Oh
out
yeah,
really awesome too with the prison break and like
yeah,
the
yeah.
fake note
Which I forgot about. Like that
to
was,
whom it may concern and stuff, and he's got the
and it
little
was
like pipe thing helping him. Yeah.
and it's quite dark. I mean, imagining like this was like a kids movie back then. Like, had they, I don't know, like fall a fake to death before and do it in a way that's kind of grotesque, where he's like hanging in a cell. I don't know. It never clicked to me as a kid. Like that never scared me. But also, I didn't remember this opening scene for I don't know how many years. Like it was never a scene that really stuck in my brain. Like the whole escape and then them escaping in the car and then the
Right.
chase after it through the town. That part never like ingrained in me. But as we were, researching this film, I was like, okay, let me pay attention to all the parts that, I
Yeah.
hadn't paid attention to before. And that gives you so much good detail about like what actually is going on in the story.
Right. And like if I'm being honest, I agree. I always kind of see the movie beginning when they're all at Mikey's house, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Like as soon as we get like Mike and Brand introduced and then like Mouth shows up, like that's kind of where I've always thought the movie like kind of always began. And
Same.
like
In my head,
again,
that's like the start of the truffle shuffle. Like that's like at the forefront of
right?
my mind when I think about the start of this movie.
And to be fair, that's also the like gang getting together portion
Correct.
of
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
adventure and stuff. So it's like, yeah, the like you get Data going through the through the screen door. you've got you've got Mouth just like ripping Brand apart for failing his driver's license test and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
holy cow, that's great. Mouth
Mouth is ahead
also
of his years
talking
when it
to
comes to like,
Rosita.
oh my god, or Rosalita, that poor woman,
Rosalita,
that
holy
poor
shit.
woman. I mean, the Spanish interpretation. One, the fact that Mouth can speak so much Spanish is impressive enough, but like the stuff that he was telling Rosalita in translating what Mikey's mom was like asking him to say
Yeah.
was criminal.
Yes.
Like, I think at one point he was like, "Make sure you separate the drugs in the drawers." You know,
The
like,
marijuana, the cocaine and speed, and the heroin on the third.
and it's not like this is before Google Translate. Like Rosalita was on her own, and in this scenario, she only had mouth to depend on for her translation. So it's like you either go by what he says or you just run. So,
Right. But the
oh,
car chase is something that I
oh
actually
yeah,
really enjoy at this. It's something like rewatching, like the escape with the blowing or like the like Joey Pants like shooting the gun and like lighting the thing up. That's always that's a great stunt. It's just a great
yeah, oh
stunt.
yeah,
It's a lot
yeah,
of fun. But the car chase is like awesome because it gives you a real look of like the town basically,
yeah,
and it does do the other thing of introducing basically all the other characters. Like
yeah.
everybody in that car chase scene is like seen doing something. Like we get the introduction of Data with the like the garbage can or whatever, and you get Chunk smashing the pizza and the
Yeah.
shake
Oh
and
my gosh,
whatnot.
on the windows, which I didn't realize, but the first time either when I watched it, there all those little details, like all the things that you wonder, like, hey, did they give the direction to the kids to do that? Like, did they tell him to squish his food up against the window, or was like that just kind of a his own little interpretation of the character? But
Right.
I was also when I was rewatching it again, and then when it came to the completion at the end, I kind of noticed that like the start of the movie mirrors in a way the end of the movie and the way that like the characters are introduced and then like the way the characters close out. Like you
Yeah.
see the Fratelli brothers escaping prison and then Rosalita gets like tossed like in the street. She's like, oh, as the car's like running by her. And then at the end, you see the Fratellis getting arrested, and Rosalita's like saving the day. She's like the one who was like going through the Fratelli
Yeah.
stuff and like finds the gems that end up securing enough money to save the entire town, which again doesn't make much sense, but I digress.
Yeah. That is I love it. It's so funny. Um but at the beginning here, one of the things in the commentary track that I love during the during the car chase scene, and it's basically the introduction of Chunk with like throwing the like pizza and the shake. All of that Dick Donner mentions that Jeff Cohen is now an entertainment lawyer. And
Oh yeah,
one of my favorite stories that like of recent memory is when Ki Hu Kwan gets the call for Everything Everywhere All at Once, which eventually leads him to winning Best Supporting Actor Oscar.
yeah.
He calls Jeff Cohen to negotiate the deal and stuff for him, and Jeff Cohen now is like his continued lawyer and like does all of that stuff
See,
for him.
because
Um,
Goonies never say die. Once a Goonie, always a Goonie.
right. It's one of those things that like truly I just love that. Like I just love that story. And
It's
like
a good sense of brotherhood. I mean, it
right
and especially when you're looking at it from a viewpoint of like as a kid with your core group of friends that you're growing up with, and
that's some
then
real trust.
yeah, yeah, like you hope that those relationships extend beyond those years to where you're like adults now trying to survive in the same world together, but like that those
Right.
relationships are rare. We don't all have like our childhood friends that we still stay in touch with, but that's always like something you aspire to, is to have those relationships from like your childhood hold
Right.
still.
Or even the idea that even if they weren't like super close or whatever, the fact that like no matter what amount of time had gone by, there's still that like trust and respect of being like, you know what, that like I have a new opportunity here, and the only person I
Yeah,
trust to or the first person I trust, and really the only person I trust because that's who you go to first, um, is my boy from the
yeah,
Goonies. Because
yeah,
Goonies never say die. We always stick together. Like it's awesome.
yeah, yeah.
It's one of my
Interesting
favorite.
that he chose. Interesting that he chose so he's a lawyer now. Is he a
Yeah,
lawyer?
he's
But how? Because the character he played, Chunk, couldn't keep his mouth shut. That boy would not do well behind the testifying for anybody.
right.
And now it's kind of funny to see like, oh, and he turned out to be a lawyer in real life.
Yeah. It's great. I love it. And then as we talked about, the last thing basically, or not the last thing. There's a couple more things at Mike's house. So then everybody shows up, all the boys.
Oh yeah, you're introduced to kind of the whole gang, And
right?
something interesting that I found out was that the director kind of encouraged all the kids to talk over one another,
Yeah,
because the dialogue felt more natural as a child and more chaotic, like as the conversations would naturally be when you're like in a group of kids. Like, and I was just at, visiting back home for Memorial Day, and I was surrounded by kids just in a room all together, and it's really how they all talk. They're screaming over one another, and that's how they communicate. So I thought, now that I'm like rewatching it, I'm like, oh, that is actually accurate. Like the way he, approached it, he really wanted these kids to, to sell it 100%. Like, you are kids going on a backyard adventure. Like,
yeah,
let's run with that. Be the kid
abs-
that you really are.
absolutely. And like, I also love when like after Chunk does the truffle shuffle, I love the little like mousetrap contraption that he sets up
Oh
to open
yeah.
up the gate and stuff. Like, that's just things that like I remember setting up traps for like the Easter Bunny, Santa, leprechauns, all
Oh
that
yeah.
kind of shit. You know,
You'd
like
have like connectors, what director
connects.
sets, or yeah, and
Yeah,
connects. Oh yeah, yeah.
all of that stuff, man, and just like make silliness. You know, just like build your own little worlds and stuff. This is why
Yeah.
toys matter.
I know you need your hands on like the physical aspect of like building something, putting something together.
Yeah,
I think it just like makes
absolutely.
those connect it clears or like makes all those synapses in your brain make sense when you're trying to understand like engineering and mathematics. When you have like that physical, something that you can build, makes everything so much easier to learn.
Right. Um, and then basically what we get who Troy's dad looking for their parents, and
Yeah.
I love that exchange with Brand of
So,
like
what does he say? It's like oh, my mom's off like buying
buying
diapers for all of us.
buying
Or
Pampers
something.
for all of us kids.
Yeah, yeah. Such a smart ass thing to say, but you know,
I mean, if we didn't even talk about it, it's Josh Brolin who's Brand, right?
I know, right? I mean, that's another thing. As an adult watching this film, it's like holy shit! Like all the people that you didn't recognize as a kid because you weren't privy to all their other work, and
Yeah.
then you watch this as an adult, and you're like, Brand is Josh Brolin. Like, when did I not make that connection?
Mike
And
is
then
fucking Samwise Gamgee.
Samwise Gamgee, Rudy. I mean, he's pretty much been. I grew up with with him
Yeah,
in film, so he was probably the one that I remember the most, or like that had actually stuck with me.
yeah.
And then Corey,
Feldman.
what's his Corey Feldman. You have the girls in the cast, Martha Plimpton, who plays Steph, and then God, her name is escaping me, but she plays
Carrie
Andy. I
Green.
believe Cary Grant. No,
Carrie
that's
Green. Carrie
Cary
Green.
Green. I was gonna say Cary Grant is like a famous actor from the like
Yeah, that's
50s.
yeah. No, no, wrong person.
Cary
Carrie,
Green. Who,
correct. Wrong
yeah,
last name.
she was in quite a like a couple of handful of movies that
Oh
from
yeah,
my childhood as well. I remember her kind of playing that high school girl character in a couple of films. She was in the movie Lucas,
hmm
which starred the other Corey,
Haim.
Corey
Yeah, Haim.
Himes, Corey Himes,
Haim.
Hames,
Yeah,
Haim. Um, but yeah, I do remember all of them kind of sporadically popping up throughout
yeah,
my childhood. And then the few that have like been steadfast, Martha Plimpton, who's still an actor today,
yeah,
Corey Feldman still does, Sean Astin. I mean, they're all like really household names, which is
yeah.
crazy because
I
they all
mean,
just came up from like this movie as kids.
Sean Astin has gone into a semi-retirement right now from acting because he's the president
Yeah,
of SAG. So like,
yeah, yeah.
I don't know
He's
like
busy.
yeah, right. He's busy fighting for like actors and making sure they're getting their fair cut and everything. And so like especially with like a couple of years ago we had the writer's
Yeah,
strike and
with the
then the actors
strike.
strike back to back and
Yeah.
like I mean power to the writers and the
Hell
actors
yeah.
like absolutely get like
Fran Drescher doing her damnedest to get us out of that, to
exactly
get the
and
actors
now
out of that. I'm saying it like it was me. I wasn't walking the picket line. I wasn't on the picket line, but I was supporting.
Right, absolutely. Absolutely. And so like I mean, even with our podcast at the time, we did a complete pivot. We stopped talking, we stopped doing commentary tracks and stuff.
Yeah, in
And
support.
we just kind of followed the strikes and kind of like did as much coverage of that as we like could kind of do. Um and then but back to Goonies.
Yeah.
Uh, we get then basically they leave. Yeah, or no, they don't leave
Yeah.
yet. They go
Well,
upstairs. They go upstairs,
right,
find the
right.
map.
Yeah, yeah. So the dad is, which I didn't find out. This, a lot of the parts in the movie kind of feel like they're laid out for you. Like, oh, they just happen to fall on a map that leads to
Hmm.
this, and then later on, Martha Plimpton character finds a newspaper clipping with the Fratelli family on the cover. Like all these clues kind of fall into place. But when I was rewatching it, I was like, well, it makes sense because the dad is a curator for the
Oh,
museum.
museum, yeah,
Yeah, which I didn't realize before. So it makes sense as to why he has all this stuff like up in his attic. But
yeah.
my question being is like, why did he have? Was he stealing from the museum, or did he just think like, oh, we were running out of storage somewhere? Part of me is
I
thinking that
honestly
there's
think
more to
it's
the story on this.
I think because everything is getting foreclosed on, I think he was actually trying to save that stuff from being
I
hawked
don't
off and
know. I
sold.
don't know. I'm sus about this. I think there's more to the story. I think the dad and I think there's the dad is not telling us everything about his operations with the museum curation.
I've never really thought that hard about
There's
it.
a black market there somewhere. There's a piracy and black market.
He's getting his cut.
Yeah, yeah. Him and One-Eyed Willie, they're in cahoots with each other. No, it's fine. But yeah, then what happens? Then the we're introduced to the are we introduced to the Fratellis yet?
Well, we were
Um
introduced to him at the
or yeah, at
breakout.
the very beginning. Yeah, you get a sense of who they are.
Yeah.
But then eventually the kids make it out to that restaurant,
Yep.
where they really kind of get their introduction to the Fratelli clan.
Yep.
Um, and then in this scene, which I think you've mentioned this before, this is where you kind of get your one glimpse of when the movie uses CGI as opposed to
Yep.
like a natural edit,
Yeah.
which I didn't think of until I was rewatching it. And there is a moment when they're looking out into the like the sea escape, and you could tell clearly like this
Yeah.
is, yeah, they're looking through the what do you the key or whatever
The
that they're that
bloom or
they're
whatever. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And there is a moment where you're like, that is clearly not like a natural scene that they're filming. Um, which I was surprised by because, throughout the whole movie, the amount of physicality or the amount of like technical and physical
Right.
animatronics that they use is so impressive. Um, especially compared to like movies nowadays when it's just all CGI. You just think like there's a whole department dedicated to like creating these animatronics, testing them out, making sure they're safe enough to be, exploding around kids and stuff. Like it's just it would have been such a cool thing to do in the 80s to be a part of that like team of people who makes
Oh,
all the booby traps throughout the film. Such a cool thing.
right. I would love that.
Yeah.
I do love when they're at the restaurant, but yeah, it's that doubloon scene because that whole thing, it's like Mikey looking up at it. Like there's a cutaway where like Forrest is behind him. That looks good and
Yeah.
normal. But when it's just his hand in the doubloon and then he moves it lower and then you see the rest of the Goonies out there, yeah, it's oh my god. It's like
It's clearly
it,
fake.
but it's so funny because in the commentary track, Jeff Cohen calls out like Dick Donner for it. It was like, "Do you
Yeah.
guys want to see like some of the worst blue screen?" And everybody's like, What? It's coming up! It's coming up! Watch it!"
Oh.
Um,
But in all honesty, as a kid, like if I was watching it as a kid, I don't think it would
I
have been enough to take me out of the film or be like,
no.
"Oh, this isn't real."
This is 30 plus years of movie watching and critiquing and like just like after
Oh
a
yeah, yeah,
movie, after a movie smoking cigarettes on the like stairs outside of a theater just being like, so what'd you think?
yeah, yeah.
Like that's where
It's
us
also
talking about the
there are also
doubloon
some of the
comes from.
details that like make these movies unique in a way. Like the fact that this is a talking point 30 some odd years later is it just it's a testament to one like the amount of work they put in on this movie and the
Right.
small area of like this tiny detail that we're focusing on that was like that wasn't perfect.
Right.
It just the film was just a masterpiece.
I
Um,
believe it came out in 85, maybe.
85. So then,
So it's
so
like
how old?
41 years.
41 years.
Yeah.
Which is insane. That's insane.
Right. And
Ugh.
that's where I was like, for me at the top, where I was like, I feel like this movie's just kind of always been there, and like it really
Yeah, yeah, it's
has.
like omnipresent for me. Yeah.
Hmm.
More so than like the Catholicism they shoved down our throats in school. It's like the Goonies were more like impactful in my
Yeah, the Goonies mattered more, way more,
hell yeah.
way more influential.
It
Because
also like influenced your, when you watch the Goonies as a young kid, what do you do afterwards? You go out with your friends and you try to like recreate some semblance of a backyard adventure. Not to the same extent, obviously, because there is, a lack of pirate ships in my backyard,
yeah,
but you
right.
try to just, you boost, it gives you that imagination itch, to try and, create your own adventure. But
Absolutely.
that's
Well,
where the restaurant is kind of where it starts, though. So that's where we're introduced to, or the kids are introduced to the Fratellis. You have Mikey, who ends up kind of moving away from the group to go down to the basement because he has to go to the bathroom, and that's where you find a little bit more of the darker side of the Fratelli clan. You're introduced to kind of the back shadow of this brother, who later on you find out goes by the name of Sloth, who is the Fratelli brother who got dropped once or twice, I think his mom says,
yeah, right.
maybe twice.
Good old Anne
um,
Ramsey. She's so good
oh
as
wow,
mom in this. Anne Ramsey,
so
great.
good. I want to know if she like smoked a bunch of cigarettes to prepare for this role, just to get that rasp in her voice. Like, it's just evil enough to where it's like any one more cigarette, her lung would have popped, but it was just enough to make her like that crotchety old scary mom who's trying to enact terror with her criminal kids.
Right. But then Brand shows up, gets Mikey and
Yeah,
the guys out of there. And
yeah,
then the Goonies in the end convince Brand to hang out by the little log thing just outside the restaurant and wait for the Fratellis to leave. And
yeah.
in the commentary track, Martha Plinkton, who plays Steph, she says, "Key, you have one of my favorite lines ever here." And everybody's like, "What is it? What is it?" And he goes, "And it's Key when they're bringing out the first dead body." He's like, "You know, I'm wondering what's in that bag." And they all die on the commentary track. They make Key do it again,
Yeah.
like live on the commentary track. It's great.
What's in
Um,
that bag?
but he's like, I'm wondering what's in that bag. And I've got to say, since this movie is 1984, I'm
Yeah.
wondering if this is where Andrew Kevin Walker got the inspiration to do What's in the Box from Seven.
Oh, is it? Wait, is that the same? I didn't realize that was the same guy.
No, no, no. They're two different people, two different movies and writers and
Or
stuff.
like,
Yeah,
but the
absolutely.
direct,
No,
like, what? Oh, I thought you meant like in.
Richard Donner, and then it's David Fincher who directed Seven, and
Oh, okay, yeah.
Andrew Kevin Walker is the script writer, is the writer of Seven.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
but since the Goonies came first in
What's
1984,
in
I'm sure
there?
he
I
watched
mean,
it.
it
I
does
wonder if
carry
that's how.
kind of the
Wonder if
same
that's
like
his twist.
lackadaisical. What's in the box? What's in the box? Like it does have that same kind of. That'd be so funny if Data was like the influence for Seven, like the entire storyline. If they, they should just credit him for, oh yeah, it was actually that line that he delivers in the Goonies, and then Seven was just launched from there. Gave Brad Pitt his like a leg to stand on.
Right. That's so awesome.
Oh, that's so funny. But,
Um,
but
the,
yeah, obviously there's a dead body in
yeah, right.
it.
There's a dead body.
I think somebody
Chunk.
mentions like the size. Yeah, it was a Chuck who mentioned he's like the bullet holes were this big
Yeah.
in the side of the car.
And well,
Um,
Chunk gets stuck with the stiff in the freezer. later
Oh
on.
God, yeah, yeah. Chunk follows his nose into the freezer because, of course, he
He
smells
wants
ice
ice cream.
cream.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then when he's in there, did you notice the flavors he started naming? One of them was grape ice cream, and I was like,
Yeah.
I've had like like a grape slushy, but grape flavored ice cream kind of sounds disgusting.
Yeah, like I don't know what it's about, but like I'm willing to
Yeah,
try it. I like grape enough.
teach their
Like,
own. But
um,
yeah, Chunk gets stuck in the freezer with the stiff. Also terrifying. I mean, bullet hole directly in between right between the eyes.
yeah,
Looks at you like with those dead man eyes, just like sees right through him and kind of collapses on him, which is another, nightmare fuel as a child.
yeah.
But Chunk, he's resilient. He's gonna need a lot of therapy after this film, but he's resilient.
Absolutely. I also love just before Chunk gets locked in that freezer where Mike and Brand are yelling at each other and
Yeah,
Sean Astin lets it slip that he calls him, he's like, Josh,
Josh.
calls him Josh. And
I
then
caught that too.
it's so funny. And on the commentary track, they just like lit up Richard Donner on it. Like like they were like, I
Wait, did
think
Richard
that's
Donner
a
know that it was still
Dick
in there?
Donner mistake.
I was wondering if because I didn't watch the commentary track, but I was wondering after I saw it in there. I was like, I wonder if the director realizes that that was still in there, or if that's something he found out like 30 or 40 years
it,
down the pipeline.
if we're being honest, it seemed like the first time Dick Donner like heard it or like realized it was there was like recording of the commentary track
In
on his
that moment.
Blu-ray.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's so funny.
like it really. Now again, I wasn't there. I don't know if he had like a different facial reaction that said something else, but like it seemed like like he was like, oh, really? Like, oh yeah, like he just seemed shocked.
Oh, that's so funny though. But
um,
yeah, so you have the brothers having that little brotherly conversation. Um, Brand is also being influenced by the girls being present there. I think part of the reason why he wants to continue in this journey with them is because the girls are like, "Oh, Brand, you're like so heroic," and he's like
right,
feeding off of that and like, "Oh yeah, I'm protecting these little kids."
right.
And then you see one of my favorite lines, which wasn't really one of even my favorite lines until I rewatched it because now as an adult watching it, like all my favorite lines are like the sarcastic or the really snooty lines that I hear the girls saying all throughout the film.
Yep.
One of them being like when all the boys are in the restaurant and the girls are still waiting outside. I think it's Martha Plimpton's character. She steps on a rake that and the end of the rake like flops up, and there's a bunch of dead fish that are hanging on the rake itself. So of course the girls go running into the restaurant and they find Brand and Andy like cuddles up to him and she's like, "Oh my God, it jumped out of the bushes. It was so big it was gonna kill us. I swear to God." Like a little dramatic, a little bit. I don't know if it was gonna kill you, but
They
oh,
seem
listening
pretty
to it as
dead,
an
but
adult, I was like, that's exactly how I would have dramatized like the whole situation. It was gonna kill me. I swear to God. It's like, relax. It was a fish.
dead at that.
Oh,
Non
she just
piranha, far as I could tell. I think
yeah
we were all right.
yeah. But then the girls are like, okay, now we're you can't separate from the group. So then the girls are locked in. Brand is locked in. They all find that that the water is leaking towards the fire
The
that
tunnel
fire
under the
pit,
fireplace, yeah.
and then they discover the tunnel that leads to the whole cave system to which starts the never ending, not never ending, but the whole adventure
Right.
um till they find the pirate ship. But yeah, then they send Chunk on his way. They're like, "Chunk, you can't come, sorry." And then
Yeah.
Chunk is like left to his
Go
own.
get us help.
Yeah, go find the cops, God.
Yeah, come on.
which which if like had they just had Chunk come with them, I always wondered this because Chunk then later gets flags down a car on the road trying to find help, and then it turns out he flags down the Fratelli brothers. So had Chunk just gone with the group into the cave system, he would have never been there to interact with the Fratelli brothers and give off all the information of where everybody was
Right?
that led the Fratellis to then pursue them. So it's really all Chunk's fault. We have to redistribute the blame in this film and just call it, Chunk, fuck off. Keep your mouth shut. This is all your fault.
That's so awesome. And I also love Chunk's confessions because like it's intercut with like the tunnel stuff and like it just gets
They
more and
keep
more.
cutting back to it. It's just
Yeah.
like confession, confession. Then they cut back to an action scene, and then like 5 minutes later, you cut back to Chunk, and he's talking about how in sixth grade, he pushed his sister down the stairs, but he blamed it on the dog, and it's like Chunk, you really digging yourself into a deeper grave here, buddy. But he was
But I love
successful in buying time, though. Like part of it was like he was buying some time to help the Goonies get a good amount of headway before the Fratelli started chasing after him.
yeah, I don't think Chunk was that forethought
No,
like
of
for
course
that
not. No.
forethoughtful of being like, "Oh, I can milk this." Um but it is a happy circumstance that like it worked
Yeah, yeah.
out, like, hey, that's a win, you
And
know.
had somebody pointed that out to Chunk, he would have absolutely taken 100% of the credit for it. So,
Yeah.
oh, but
um
now we're in like the adventure part of the story. Like now we're in the actual cave system. This is where, you get that sense of like the backyard adventure begins. Everybody who dug a hole in their backyard then hoped that it would, you'd run into a cave system like this. This is where we are now. So the kids are finally getting to know like what One-Eyed Willie his whole thing was,
right.
the story behind it, all the booby traps that he set to try and protect his treasure. Because now they have to go up against his booby traps in order to one escape their Fratellis, two get the treasure. So
Right.
that's kind of where we're at now.
And they also have the story of Chester Copperpot
Chester Copperpot. Oh
hanging over
yeah,
their
that's
head,
another Andy moment.
right?
She's the one.
Because
Yeah, is she the one who finds his body and screams?
I believe so. Yeah, that
Yeah,
sounds about right.
yeah.
the
So then, who's Chester Copperpot? So he's the adventurer from the previous adventurer who was
From like the
pursuing.
1920s or 30s, the last like
Yeah,
recorded adventure.
they don't really give you like a timeline, but in my head I was picturing like the 30s or the 40s, like
Yeah,
somewhere around like Brendan Fraser and the Mummy or something, like when they were
right.
exploring.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, you get the sense of like a young adventurer guy who is searching the cave system, but then you see well, he didn't really get very far, like he's
yeah.
um so poor Chester.
It's right. Poor Chester. Um, I love during like the falling of the rocks and stuff though, and
Oh
during
yeah.
one these parts, Key Hugh Kwan wasn't allowed to swear. Like his mom was like, you can't swear in real life, you can't swear if it's in a movie. But he wanted to say like holy shit. So he says
Yeah,
holy shit, and like that was his workaround because he didn't say it, but he spelt it
there's
out,
always a loophole. Yeah,
right?
he's smart
And,
enough to figure out the loophole, which is such a
and
kid thing to do.
right.
Ugh. I remember when my mom would say like, "Okay, time to go to bed. I don't want to hear a peep," and then right
Uh-huh.
as she was closing the door, I'd be peep. It's just like
It
it's such a like little kid thing to do.
really is. I mean,
Yeah,
all kids do that. Like, push
yeah.
that little bit of luck and stuff. Like even now, my daughter, we read her, a chapter of a book or whatever every night, and like now she's like, two chapters. I want two
Oh yeah, always want
chapters.
more. Always
I
want
want
more.
two chapters, and we're like, no, 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 no. One chapter. That's it.
Yeah.
Two chapters if we feel like it, but that's happened like twice.
Oh God, I have to reread the chapter like 5 times before it even locks in.
Oh
I have
yeah,
such my attention span, no bueno.
my
But
ADD life. um, but
but
one of my
anyways, so
what
now
one of my other favorite things though during these tunnels before we like leave it is the pipes. and I love it
Oh yeah.
here, and I love it because like everything's coming out of like the
It's
bathroom showers and stuff. The
it's
one
such
dude
like a
gets
gimmicky
clonked in the
scene.
head with the water fountain, knocks him out cold. Are you kidding me?
The
Great,
best is
great
the best
slapstick.
is Troy. Troy goes, in to casually take a dump in the
Mhm.
stall. And then who is the I think it was Mouth who screams back pressure, and
Yep.
then you see Troy just like elevate from the toilet because the water pressure just like shoots him up in the air. He's also reading. I didn't realize he's reading a Guns and Ammo magazine as he's like sitting on the toilet. I was like, oh, that's
Because
kind of curious.
Troy is a tool.
Oh, and then Troy falls on the bathroom floor, and tough Mr. Macho guy, who's like the jock at school. What does he scream?
Daddy!
Daddy! So pathetic, so pathetic.
Yeah.
Kudos to that guy who played that character though. Like that's a tough thing to do, to play a bully in like a coming of age story, because people will always, no matter what you do, that character is gonna follow you wherever you go, and you're always,
Mhm.
that poor guy probably didn't realize going into it he's always gonna be Troy the bully from Goonies.
Right.
Yeah.
That's so true.
But yeah,
Uh,
the pipe scene is so gimmicky. I love that aspect of it. It's one of the fun, like because the whole movie kind of goes down this scary plot. Like
yeah.
it's not a. If you really think about the whole story, it's kind of a dark and twisty story. You hope like the kids don't end up getting killed at any point. But then there's a scene where like all the pipes are shaking and somebody's getting launched from a toilet, and it reminds you like, oh, this is a kids movie. It's cool.
Well, what I also like about this tunnel scene is what it first shows you is that this is something that I really never even thought of almost until like this moment, but it is showing you more getting away more and more away from like the quote unquote real world and leading you closer to the fantasy world of One Eyed Willie, the ship, and
Yeah.
the treasure. But the beauty of this movie and of the Goonies adventure in the end is that the One Eyed Willie treasure is true. It's all connected, and it's this beautiful, crazy, fun tunnel that you get to go through. Um,
And it sends home like the message, like always choose adventure, because even throughout the movie they have that you get like a point where they could have made a decision to turn back. They get a point where they get to the wishing well, where they get reintroduced to the world above because
right?
Troy is at the surface level. And they get that crossword, or they're at that crossroad where it's like, do we continue this and pursue the treasure, or do we come to our
Escape.
senses and escape back to reality where it's safe? And Mikey has one of his like soliloquies, and one of his many soliloquies throughout the movie, where he mentions to Andy, Goonies never say die. um and that kind of reminds you, like, always choose the adventure. Like, as
Right?
dangerous as it is, like, you
But
can't you
in
can't say
like
no to a one-eyed bully adventure.
and ultimately that's what Andy does. She does choose the adventure, but her initial response back is, "I'm not a Goonie."
I'm not a Goonie.
Yeah, like I don't
And
live
then
at the goon. Like I don't live in the Goondocks. So like she's saying like technically she's not a Goonie, but he's like,
but then
"Yeah,
Mikey
but you're
says,
with
oh
us
yeah,
today."
yeah, yeah, and well, he also before that he's like, "Oh, I forgot," and it was like, "Oh, so like he forgot, but like he considers her a Goonie." Like
Yeah,
you could tell like the way he's talking to her, like, "No, you are a Goonie. A Goonie is a. It's not like we have to initiate you. A Goonie is
yeah,
like a
right.
frame of mind. Like you are a Goonie."
Yeah,
Um,
like you don't have to live in the
ah,
Goondocks to actually be a Goonie. You're a Goonie because you're here. You're a part of the group.
yeah,
You're on
yeah,
this adventure. You're adventuring with us and stuff. Like you're a
yeah,
Goonie.
yeah. It's
And
like
that's kind of like I mean, in the end, as kids, for friendships, that's all that really matters is that you show up.
yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah. That is so true.
at a certain point, like friendships and everything gets more complicated, and everybody needs more from each other, whatever. But like
Yeah,
in kids, when we're in that adventure mode and stuff, the only thing that kids really expect from their other friends is to just show up.
it's just to show up. Yeah,
And
yeah,
like ultimately that's what Andy has done, is that she shows up,
yeah.
she's here for the adventure. She's not really she's sharing concerns, Same as
Yeah.
anybody else in the group is
And they're
doing.
valid. I mean, they are going through a cave
Fair,
system in pursuit of a pirate ship, so like there are valid concerns.
right? Like I'm not a naysayer on them,
Yeah.
but it is very interesting though that like that you're right that they have this moment. I mean, it's the turning point in the story, you know, like in a 3 act
Yeah.
structure. Like this is the turning point. Do you
Yeah.
go back or do you go forward? Do you push
Yeah.
forward? And you know, they push forward ultimately. And I do love Troy's other scream here. Andy,
Like half of his
you
script, this poor
Goonie.
guy, like half of like, oh, can you help me memorize my lines? And his lines are just Andy or Daddy.
Right? Are you sure you're in
Oh,
a
poor
movie?
Troy. Oh, I know, right? It's like, what are you auditioning for? It kind of sounds kinky.
Yeah. Sounds like things could get weird. I mean, I'm not judging. I'm just saying, you know, like
They do. He's such a yuppie, though. They like do such a
oh
good
yeah.
job of making him look like this. You know, his dad owns what are those called? The golf course with
Yeah.
um, like a, you know what I mean, like the whole venue for like golfing and whatnot.
Yeah, like
Um,
the golf course that has houses on the golf course and all that
yeah,
kind of
what is
stuff.
that
Yeah.
called? I can't think of it, but yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
But yeah, he's such a yuppie. It's just like this privileged, pretentious, rich kid who's always in like a fancy tracksuit.
Right?
But yeah, so then we get Mikey's soliloquy, his first soliloquy of many, which the director I heard gave him a little bit of like ad lib freedom in those moments where he can kind of go off on his own, which I thought was really cool, like as a kid,
Yeah.
to develop your own kind of narrative. But um, and then beyond, so from the wishing well, where do we go next? I can't remember what the next step in the story was. Is that where we
Then
get to the...
then we get the like we get like Chunk and Sloth go to the pipes, which is great.
Oh yeah, yeah.
We get Andy making out with Mikey and Steph
Which
sees.
Oh yeah, you get the blind makeout scene, which another small little comment that Andy made, which I thought was absolutely hilarious, was after she had kissed Mikey, she was talking with Steph, Martha Plimpton's character,
Yeah.
and then when they were done with the conversation, Andy goes, "Oh, and be careful, there's a hole around here somewhere. Brand was stepping in it," and it was like, "No, that was because you kissed Mikey, and Mikey's just short."
Yeah, he's just short. He's got braces.
It
Nothing
was so
against him. He's not a
it was
bad
so
guy, but
innocent.
like not
It was
Brand.
so innocent. Uh, and then just, oh, I didn't know he wore braces.
Right.
And you're like, oh, oh,
Um One of the next funniest parts though is also when Andy goes back to Brand to try and be like, "Hey, let's go back and like make out
oh
some
yeah,
more." And he's like, "What are you crazy? They're here."
they're here. Oh, and
uh
then Andy has one of her many freakouts where she's just like,
yeah,
like overwhelmed, panicked, and screaming, which she just does such a great job at.
it's
Oh,
amazing.
but yeah, so now you're starting to. The Fratellis have found the cave system. They're in pursuit. So
Yep.
everybody's doing their damnedest to try and delay the Fratellis from getting close. At one point, Data slicks the logs that go over
That's what
that
we're
like
getting up to
water.
right now.
Yeah, yeah. And that's where you get a lot of like the slapstick humor, that is just like the bumbling, the bumbling criminals and the slapstick humor that comes along with that narrative. Like they're trying to cross, and of course one slips and hits
Yep.
like lands on his crotch, and you get the crotch scene where he like
Yep.
then tips over into the water. It's so iconically, I don't know, idiotic in a sense.
The only thing I
And
have to
Ken,
add for the log crossing scene is that Joey Pants actually did that stunt himself. Yeah.
I hope he was wearing some sort of protection when he landed on that log, because I
I
mean,
mean,
he
I don't know,
his
dude.
facial expression
Like,
was very
like, if I'm being
realistic
honest, I don't
to
know if a cup is gonna help you. That might hurt you even more,
oh, I don't even want to, oof, and then to fall into the water afterwards, it's just like
right?
a slap in the face.
Like, there's to be fair, there's no good way to land on a log like that. That
No,
like
no,
you're
no,
hurting yourself.
no. He definitely did it justice, though.
Absolutely. That
He
like
served the scene's purpose.
it's so good. But then we get to like Andy playing the organ and stuff, which is really
Oh
great.
yeah.
One of the only thing I've got to add from the commentary track here is like all the kids were like, "Oh my god, we were up like 20 or 30 feet," and then out of nowhere, Richard Donner was like, "How would you feel about 10?" And they were all like, "What?" And he was like, "Yeah, you guys were only 10 feet up off the ground from like where you were standing. You
I
were
mean,
not
as a kid, though, everything is so
exactly,
emphasized, exaggerated. So I
exactly
probably would have thought the same thing. And when you're a kid, 10 feet is still, that's pretty high up still. Like,
right."
it's double the height of me as a kid. So,
Right? I
that's
mean, it's
two
the height of a
stories for
basketball
me.
rim, like from ground up, like it's the height of a basketball
I
rim.
do love when the kids were approaching the bone piano, and somebody mentions to Andy like, "Oh, you took piano lessons," and Andy's response was, "Yeah, when I was 4." It's just like, and you're placing your hope and faith in me that I can get us through this. And then as Andy's like reading the notes, she's like, "This is nothing like my mother's Steinway," which I'm like, "Oh, this is so yuppie." She's like a former yuppie, a rescued yuppie, now Goonie.
Right?
But it's just such a pretentious statement. Whenever like I feel like I'm better than somebody in a moment, in my head I'm gonna say, "This is nothing like my mother's Steinway." Oh,
um,
but
but then
terrifying scene. I mean, this scene is absolutely
yeah,
like butt clenching moment where you're like, okay, the kid's gonna fall to their death. Is Andy gonna, hit the right note and lower the gate on that moat, so
right,
they could, escape to safety? And of course they do. Otherwise, the story would end there.
yeah. But if she hadn't played the piano as much, they could have gone around the side and just kind of climbed up there, like
Oh,
how
I'm
the
sure.
Fratellis
Yeah.
do. But
See.
like that's why, because I mean that's ultimately why the Fratellis go, because so much of the floor is like gone and like but whatever.
Yeah.
But that is something that I think about, that I was like, there's a point where they show it, it's like halfway, and I think they still have a path behind them, and I'm like, why don't you just
Oh,
go
yeah. They would have had
walk
enough room
around
to
the
get around
corner and
that.
just climb up there, like,
Because
because you could,
that would have required a fully developed frontal cortex. Like these kids are like, no, we need instant gratification. This is the only thing we are locked, like the tunnel vision. They're like, no, we need to lower the moat.
right? But then we also get, I mean, we get one of my favorite things, the slide scene, getting down to like where we
Oh
see the
yeah,
boat. I just
yeah,
love
yeah.
that. Um,
Which they should have. I wish they would have developed that. And can you imagine that as a ride at a theme park, like going down the slide, and then you end up like getting dumped into a pool?
yeah,
Maybe leave the octopus out of it. Maybe like that would be a little traumatic for the kids, but
yeah,
like the rest of it, like leading up into the pirate, like the whole reveal, which again is another aspect of the movie I didn't realize until doing some research on it, was when they exit the slide, when they land into the big lagoon that houses the big pirate ship. That's the first time that all of those kids were introduced to the pirate ship. That's the first time they're
yep,
visualizing the pirate ship. And that was done intentionally. And that was because, the director wanted them to have a genuine reaction of
yep.
like excitement and, awe just from these kids. And I can't remember who actually ruined the first edit of it, because somebody did end up dropping a swear word during the initial filming of the
hmm
reveal. So then they, at that part, when they were in the water, they did have to reshoot because they couldn't include the expletive that the kid said. So probably
Right,
dropped an F bomb. Should have left it in there.
right. I mean, this movie has bullshit all over it, and it's like
Oh
it's
yeah, like
only like
every
PG. What are
yeah.
you?
I think it was PG.
Yeah,
If it came out today, I think it would
that
have
shit
garnered a PG-13 rating.
is PG.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That shit
If
is
it came out
PG.
today, it would definitely be PG-13. I just
Right.
based on Sloth's face alone. I mean, that was terrifying. Which I didn't realize that the eye was mechanical. That
Yes.
I guess I never saw it blinking, but
hmm
uh when I was doing research, there was the actor who portrayed Sloth mentioned one of the difficulties he had was trying to coordinate his blinking with when like when the mechanical eye blinks, so that it would be kind of in sync. And I thought, well, it'd probably be even funnier if it was just completely off sync and he was just like
Right?
blinking randomly. Like they should have did that with the character. That would probably would have freaked people out way too much though. I mean, he was already gigantic and scary, so
Right? And that could have been like distracting in the wrong way too, you know what I mean? Like
right,
having
yeah.
yeah. But
Yeah, that would have
like
been a little bit too much.
what if you just see him blink and it's like off? Like that would
Like
be funny.
a
Yeah,
slight delay, yeah, like a
yeah,
one
that
two.
that'd be good.
He did five. That took 5 hours every day of hair and makeup to get him
Yep,
into that costume for slots. So kudos to that
yep.
actor.
He's a
Um,
former Raiders lineman, maybe
yeah,
defensive lineman, and I believe his name is Joseph Mazukis or
yeah. I
something.
think he passed away some time ago, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah. What a that. I mean, if it weren't for the octopus scene in that film, I would say Sloth's face would probably be a close second to scariest aspect of the movie for me. Just and the whole reveal, like with the baby Ruth scene, it's terrible. Like imagine being Chunk locked in a basement, locked to a
Right,
chair with a strange man. Like you don't know what who this man is, why
right.
he's is the way he is, why he's locked up. Like I would be, hoping that I was wearing my, diapers that Mikey's mom was getting from the grocery store that day,
Right.
because I'd be shitting my pants.
Right. Um, but they get into the boat. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
they cross the water with the deleted octopus scene. They get into the boat and basically they go one by one to different compartments and finally they get to the last place and they're like, "Where's the treasure, Mikey?" They're all mad and angry at him. And of course, Andy picks
It's always
something up off
Andy.
the ground, looks at something on the ground, and pulls on a lever to help herself up off the ground.
She's always
That
nonchalantly guiding like the way.
and then she's always and then she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I just pulled something."
Yeah.
But
So you're about
luckily,
to have another Andy panic attack, but
right?
then, now is like, oh no, this is it. This is like the grand reveal. And this is where you get introduced to One-Eyed Willie and his treasure.
Yep.
Um, and you have a moment, so Mikey kind of has his second soliloquy moment, which again, director gave him, some artistic expression to kind of ad lib the scene a little bit in his speech with One Eyed Willie, which I thought was super cool.
Yeah.
Um, and you really see this like connection that was established throughout the whole film because the whole film you kind of have this they kind of feed into it very gently that Mikey is just in a way kind of connected to One Eye Willie throughout the whole course of the film. Like in some sense, One Eyed Willie is guiding him, like he's like a voice in the back of his head saying, like, no, go this way, go this way. I kind of attributed it to the way Harry Potter is with Scar in his head. Like
Yeah.
he's Voldemort's like kind of always a part of him in that way, and they're connected in a sense. Like that was kind of how the feel I got was that Mikey part of the reason why they got to where the pirate ship was at was because Mikey had this kind of connection and One
Yeah.
Eyed Willie was guiding him the whole way. Um, but you see this sprawl of like gold jewels, gold coins spread everywhere, and then the rest of the Goonies come in and they're like, "It's the treasure!"
Right.
And you get the scene of everybody grabbing everything, and then I
You
think
also get
Mouth
the
is reached.
awkward thing with Mikey of like, "Oh, how long have you guys been standing there?"
Oh yeah, yeah. Like, ooh, awkward. Did you guys hear how embarrassing I just was? How I was just talking to a skeleton
Right?
about how much I respect him. It's just like
About
so
how much
weird.
I respect him and how awesome this is.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it was kind of a weird, I don't know. That was a weird sentimental moment where it kind of made you
Yeah.
feel awkward, but then everybody's reaching and grabbing and filling their pockets with as much jewels and coin as they can. And I think Mouth reaches for the plate of Willie's
Data. Yeah.
stash, and Mikey stops him and he's like, "No, that's
Yeah.
his. That's Willie's. We have to
Yeah.
leave some for Willie's."
Data
And then I
Data
always
and Brand are each going for those like the little weight things or whatever that
yeah, yeah.
have the coins on
Which
them.
I guess
Yeah.
it gives a good semblance of symbolism to the story. It's like, oh, they're the plates were balanced like when before they grabbed it. So like if they were to take some, it could offset the balance, and then you know we all see what happens later on when so and so gets into the gold and actually takes the gold off that plate, and you see that it's actually a booby trap. And then
Right.
part of, again, One-Eyed Willie one ups everybody. But I always wondered if Mikey knew that it was a booby trap, or if he just thought of it as just like, no, we have to leave that as like a sign of respect, or if in the back of his head, like, no, I bet if we take that, something bad might happen. But they never, you never get that answered. But it's always in the back of my mind.
It's probably a little bit of column A and a little bit of column B.
Yeah,
There's because like the entire time, like Mikey's talking about the respect and stuff that he has for One-Eyed Willie and all of this and wanting to find the treasure. So
yeah,
I think it's like for sure out of respect of being like, well, we don't need to take it all because the second thing is like, yeah, they just went through a whole bunch of booby traps. I don't know how like conscious he could have been thinking about it, but I'm sure like part of like the thing is like no, like subconsciously he was probably like this is wrong. We can take
yeah,
everything
yeah.
else that's here that's not on these little like, weight things or whatever, but we can take everything else and like that's fine. Like
And
we
I
can
think it
leave a
was a
little
good
bit,
message to send. Like the Goonies are adventurers.
take
They
what you
earned that
need, not
treasure. They found it.
excess, like
Yeah, like they found that treasure. They deserved it. They earned it. But like, there's no need to take more than you need. Save some treasure. I think at one point, did they say save some treasure for the next adventure or something? Like, maybe
oh
I'm making
maybe, I
that
don't
up. But
know.
that would have been a cool sentiment too if they were like, no, leave that for the next adventure. Because like,
Yeah.
some other group of bumbling idiots might go go through find the cave system at one point and create this adventure for themselves.
Yep.
But yeah, so then and then the Fratelli brothers, they've caught up now, so now they've accessed the boat. And you see the interaction where the kids, they all get wound up. They all have to spit out all the jewels. I think Mouth has like a pearl necklace that like he comes drags out of his mouth. Um, and then you see the fight between Sloth, as Sloth comes in to save the day, and now he's like, instead of being one of the Fratelli brothers, like he's one of the Goonies now, and like he's fighting the Fratelli brothers, and you get this like kind of fun bumbling idiot interaction again, where the brothers are tied, and then he like brings them together, they run into each other and collapse, and
I
it's that
also
fun
love
humor.
his ripping of his
Oh,
shirt and
Superman.
and
Yeah.
having the Superman shirt, the super sloth
And then with this
comes
like
out to
pirate
play.
hat on as well, it just is like it's such a cool picture. It's like ingrained in every kid's mind who's watched this movie. Like everybody can picture him like Superman t-shirt. I think he's wearing suspenders too or something. He's got his cow or his pirate hat on. Hey
Right.
you guys. Just iconic.
Then
But yeah,
I
now
mean, they all walk the plank then, right?
yeah, you have
Like
to. I've Yeah.
after
The
that
the Fratellis made him walk the plank.
we get the Andy Brand kiss, and then she's like, "Hey, what happened to your braces?" And he's like, "I don't have braces, Mikey."
Mikey! It's
I
such a.
also love how Brand doesn't untie Andy's hands there. Like
Oh, yeah.
Andy puts
Oh, he
her
just like
tied
puts,
hands
because he put.
over his head.
Yeah. Well, it
Um,
creates this, like, oh, it's like romantic, putting her tight hands like
I
over his
mean,
head.
I
It,
mean,
it
I
does create a
guess
sense of like romance and escape, and yeah. But that is kind of funny.
it's one
Uh,
of those things that like they made a comment on it in the commentary track, and I was like, oh yeah, he doesn't untie her. Like I
yeah.
don't get it. um,
Oh, but
but
yeah, now
then
now the kids. I can't remember. Oh, so they're like now what releases the boat? I can't remember. Like there
it's
was it?
the booby trap, and so
That's right.
Sloth is
Yeah.
helping all of the kids get out because Data just lit the dynamite that he thought was a
Yeah.
candle that they found on Chester Copperpot, and
Yeah. Yeah. Which didn't it
so
say TNT on the sticks? Was I wrong? Or
no,
did
no,
it
no,
say
no. There's
dynamite on the
one
sticks?
stick that says TNT. The other ones are candles, but they're all like red.
Oh.
So that's
Yeah,
why
they
like
all look
nobody
similar to
really
one another.
notices. But you do see every time they ask for a candle, they open up the book bag and you see like a couple of candles and the one that says TNT on it. But yeah.
Of course, yeah. Yeah, and then there's that scene. I do remember that scene where Sloth is like holding up the boulders and pushing the
Hmm.
kids through his legs. So like, no, you gotta escape.
Yep.
You have to get out here, be free. And then Chunk is, that like heartbreaking scene where Chunk is like, no, you have to come too.
Right.
Um, and then there's that moment where they escape to the beach, which
Yep.
is now kind of the culmination of the film. Now you see everybody rushing the beach, rescue workers,
Hmm.
the family members, everybody's rushing to because the kids are now free from the cave system.
Yep.
um which is such a heartwarming scene. You get to see like everybody, all the parents that you didn't get introduced to at the beginning of the film, and how much they resemble the kids in the story as
Hmm.
well. Like Dada's dad is just like, I think Andy puts it perfectly. It's like they're so much alike or something, or like they're like twins or something. Because his dad has like the camera that comes out with the reel that spits out, and it's like, of course it doesn't work.
Right.
um
Um,
You
I
also
love
get the
that.
mention of the octopus, which
Yeah.
didn't end up making the final cut of the film.
Data talks
Um,
to the news reporter, talks about the octopus and stuff there. And honestly, until I saw it on like DVD when they started giving like special features and stuff like that, I was always confused basically by that line.
yeah, I thought it never really. I guess I never really connected the two, even when I
Hmm.
watched that scene in it. Because I don't know, I always remembered the octopus being in the film. I don't know. It was confusing, but yeah, they cut out the octopus scene. They leave in Data's explanation of the octopus being the scariest thing. And it kind of leaves everybody just like scratching their head like, okay.
Hmm.
um and then you also get Rosalita, who, at
Yep.
the start of the film, poor woman, who's traumatized by mouth. She's digging through the Fratelli's belongings because the Fratellis ended up getting arrested on the beach as well. And then she's going through their belongings and she finds the Mikey's, what used to house his
Marble.
marbles, now
Yeah.
now which has a handful of gems, which is apparently enough to save the entire town. That I did not understand when they were like, no sign, no sign. It's like,
Right.
let's maybe appraise those first, because I'm not quite sure those might be enough.
Right.
Maybe one house, maybe two houses on the block, but like that looked like those might be plastic. But
Maybe
Rosalita,
costume jewelry.
yeah,
Eh,
yeah.
Maybe
And
costume.
Rosalita deserves. I mean, if they were to split that up equally among the Goonies, I think Mouth it should do his due diligence and split his earnings with Rosalita because of the trauma that he had to put her through the start of the film. I think it's only fair that Rosalita gets a cut of the deal.
I don't disagree. Chunk also is like Sloth. You're gonna come live with me now.
Which, yeah, it doesn't really feel great when you hear that. You're like, that's kind of weird.
I'm gonna take
He's
care
a
of you now, Sloth.
Yeah,
Boy,
like a
you're
pet or
8.
something. Yeah, it puts a bad taste in my mouth. Like, Sloth's a great person, don't get me wrong. The character development that he went through in this film is beautiful. He's an
Right.
angel among men, but like that'd be creepy. It's just creepy. I think he'd be fine living in like a guest house or like in an apartment above a garage, some like in the backyard or something. Maybe don't invite him into the main house.
Right. Um. So, I, we've talked through the whole flick now. Do you have
Crazy, yeah.
any final favorites you want to go over? Either an action sequence, character, a line we missed, a scene, anything else of like a favorite you want to go over?
I just want anybody who's revisiting the Goonies, who hasn't watched it in a long time or who's revisiting it as an adult, um, pay attention to like the little snippets of satirical humor that especially the girls spit out throughout the film. Even Martha Plimpton's character, she has a lot of great lines that we didn't address throughout this film either. But especially Andy. Andy did a great. She really was kind of like the little comedic tie that tied all the scenes together in this film, because she always had like a little sidebar comment that kind of
Hmm.
makes you either roll your eyes or go like, "Oh, that's so freaking dramatic."
Her body
But
comment. I have a good body. I have a great body, right? I
I
always
have a
thought I
great
had a great.
body.
I have a great body, right?
And you could just see her like fully spazzing out,
Crashing
like
out. Oh yeah, she's
Andy.
crashing out hard.
It's just so it's perfect though. I mean, really kudos to what was her name again? Carrie
Carrie Green.
Graham, Carrie
Green.
Green. I can never get it right. Kudos to
It's
her.
not
She really
Grant.
made that character. Green.
Yeah. Green.
Yeah, not Cary Grant, not the famous actor from like 1940s or whatever. Um, but yeah, I would say, pay attention to the little nuanced lines that you hear coming out of her mouth because they're just genius. They really are.
There, there's one more chunk line that I want to call out, and it's right before. God, are they in the restaurant with the Fratellis? They might be in the basement of the Fratellis. I forget exactly where it is, but Chunk is like, "Wait a minute, Mikey."
Oh yeah.
And just the way that Jeff Cohen says that as Chunk,
Wait a minute,
it
Mikey.
is just
Yeah.
hilarious,
As soon as you said it, like immediately it registered in my head. Like, yeah, yeah.
right?
There's also there was also a line that because now I watch every movie with subtitles on, or closed captions. It's just as an adult, like I don't have any
I
hearing
can't
issues. I
hear
just
my
like
movie without my subtitles.
yeah, like I need both of them there, which is like it's helped me actually like recognize that a lot of the lines that I thought were being said, but then ended up it was like, oh no, that's not what they said at all. Because a lot of the lines that the Mrs. Fratelli, the mom, says, I could never really understand because her voice was so raspy and hard to hear. But there is the scene where they initially she kicks all the kids out of the restaurant and then she closes the door and she just leans up against the back of the door and she just stares off and she says, "Kids suck."
Yes,
And then I never heard her say that before, but I was as an adult, like I was like, they do suck sometimes. You know what? Like, you know what? You're right.
kids can
It,
be
it
kids,
registered. Yeah, I was like, I'm actually vibing with the Fratellis for a second here because I get it. Kids do suck sometimes. But anyways, yeah, that was my last little snippet that I'll include. How about you? Anything else?
I got nothing else. All I've got to say
Yeah.
really is that the Goonies rule.
Oh yeah.
We, our generation, and all generations after us are of kids are so lucky to just have the Goonies there in your life to go like have
Oh yeah.
fun and have a great adventure with. They don't make them like this anymore. Like
No,
they really don't.
they really don't. No. The great thing about
It's
this one though is it feels like the first time almost every time you watch it.
yeah,
You find a little bit of adventure that you didn't recognize before. And it's so well done that I don't know, like it takes you back every time you watch it. You don't have to worry about like finding, the misedits throughout the film. Once you're in it, you're like, oh, this is great. This is like you get fully
yeah.
pulled into the adventure of it, and it's just like it's the first time again. So
It's
they really
awesome,
can't make they really don't make them again, like they don't make them like they used to. But
right? I mean, this is like a feel good movie for me almost, like a
hell
feel
yeah,
good watch.
yeah,
It's always a great like rewatch as we've talked about throughout the whole thing, like going on adventures like where we grew up, we didn't have like rivers
yeah,
and like a whole bunch of lakes by us, but we had like forest preserves and stuff and like
yeah.
walking paths and hiking paths and stuff. So absolutely as a kid, like going through
Which
there with like friends and stuff, like oh yeah.
like that and a little bit of an imagination is like all you need as a kid. You
Yeah,
don't need a cave system. You just need like a forest preserve or a woodsy area and let your imagination do the rest.
right. Because that woody area as a kid will be huge to you until you're an adult,
Oh yeah, yeah.
you know. But we did it, man. We
Hell
have
yeah.
talked Goonies. We have been lucky enough to have Goonies with us for 41, 40, definitely 40 plus years.
Oh
Um,
wow.
right?
I've never not had the Goonies a part of my life. That's crazy. Like
Right?
it's always been there. It's
It's
ever present. It's omnipresent. The Goonies is my god. No, I'm just kidding. But but yeah, yeah, I can't believe we made it. through this entire filming. I mean, it's crazy. I could talk about the Goonies for another 2 hours, but
Right. Hey, we can always re-Goonie. No problem. We can always
Re-Goonie.
re-Goonie.
We'll call that the sequel episode.
Right.
Welcome to Re-Goonie.
Well, it's funny in the commentary track at one point in the movie, Jeff Cohen like offhandedly is like, "Oh yeah, Dick, we're gonna be making a sequel soon," and like Dick is like, "Oh yeah, that's possible," and I was like,
I mean, I could see. Hey,
"What?"
if
Well, that like the commentary track for this was recorded like at this point probably close to 10, 15 years ago, if not
yeah,
longer.
because it was probably after the 25th anniversary or
Would have
something
been
when they
around
were doing
20 or
this.
30-year anniversary, I feel like. Yeah.
Oh wow. Well, they should just have it where like, now they're all adults and their kids are the next round of Goonies or something, and like they have a new adventure that they have to go on. But there is like, with the 80s being so specific in that time period where you're limited to how much interaction they have with technology, like it creates it kind of makes the adventure part of it more realistic. Whereas if they were to make a sequel today, I don't know how much with how much involvement with technology would interfere with like the storyline of the film, or if it would take away from like the creativity of it. But I mean,
So
I'm all for it. I mean, I'm all for it. Like, do it.
it,
I'll
it
judge.
could work if they do an underground cave system because I doubt cell phone reception is great
Oh yeah.
underground in caves. So like for real, they could do it and like
Yeah.
as the parents getting dragged back in, they could go to the entry point of what the last like location ping was. And then
See, I mean,
that's how you get the parents and stuff back in there, the original Goonie cast coming and looking after their kids and stuff.
let me just
And
add to my to-do list. Email
you can
Goonies
even
team
put the
about sequel.
juxtaposition there that the kids are leaving because they have been fighting with their parents, and then you can do a T2 to this bitch and make the heroes of the first one be the bad
See,
guys of this one. Hollywood, I'm here.
sounds like all you need is a copyright now because you got the story.
I'm here, Hollywood.
Hello, pick up
um,
the phone.
hello. Uh,
Well,
but no,
just
like
cue me in on that when you start production on that. Just make sure I get a credit in there.
yeah, story by.
I'll
um,
take the Spielberg credit on the sequel.
but
Oh,
but all that to say, we love the Goonies. We want to
hell yeah!
thank you all for joining us.
Thank
Please
you,
like and subscribe to our video and to our channel. And we want you all to stay safe. AJ, say bye.
Jimmy. Thank you so much for having me. Everybody, create your own adventure. Get out there, find a cave system in your backyard, and don't get killed in the process when you're trying to find the gold at the end of the rainbow. I don't know.
Remember, you are a Goonie, and Goonies never say die.
Never say die. Holy SHIT! All right, bye, y'all.